Okay, so story time about my brain damage. First thing, I have really bad insomnia, so it will probably be not unusual for me to be posting in the middle of the night. What is happening? Anyway, so my brain damage. So I have a little bit of brain damage. I got into a car accident. So in 2019, it was March 28th, and I was driving to a show. I was actually on my way to sing at an acoustic gig for the DVA, and I was driving down the highway and I was speeding. I was absolutely speeding, but um, I was probably going 80. Speed limit was like 70, but it was gorgeous. No ice on the road. Absolutely beautiful out. There were cars, but like not traffic. Spaced out, whatever. So I'm clipping along, minding my business, and I hear brakes. I hear, and that's not what you should be hearing at 80 miles an hour. So um, as I hear the brakes, in my head, I think, God, please don't hit me. Because I knew, like, if brakes were coming, that someone was trying to stop for a reason. So, right as I heard in my head, please don't hit me, right as I thought me, I got hit so hard. I was in a Durango, so like full size SUV truck frame, like, I got hit so hard that it spun out my Durango. I did a full 360 in the middle of the highway, and I remember this part completely. And as I was spinning, I saw the guardrail, and on the other side of the guardrail was nothing. And I remember thinking, "Oh God, that's probably not going to stop me," and I'm hoping it would. Um, Anyway, it's weird because it both happened so fast, but also slow enough that I remember thinking through these things. Like your brain just goes into like hyper overdrive. So the guardrail did not stop me. So then this is where I blacked out for the flipping of the guardrail and went through it. And then I absolutely was conscious. So it was a short chunk of time. And then I was conscious going down the hill. And I remember, because people are like, have asked me, were you scared going down the hill? No, I was really angry. I was hanging on the steering wheel and it was jerking like this, the steering wheel was, because, it ended up ripping the axle right off. The front axle ripped right off the Durango, and the tire, the whole wheel assembly was ripped off. But I remember going down the hill thinking, holy fuck, how fucking tall is this fucking hill? When is this fucking hill gonna stop? That's what I was thinking going down the hill as I was doing this in the car. And I had my seatbelt on, obviously, so I wasn't hitting the roof as I rolled, but I was doing this, and so then I remember slowing down, thinking, "Oh God, thank God, it's gonna stop." And then I started rolling again. It turns out that was a chain link fence, and I'd hit it, and it slowed me down, but it did not stop. A full speed Durango rolling down the hill, so I continued to roll, and then I landed in a swamp. And there's like a difference between what you remember and then what happened. So what I remember was I landed in the swamp, and the water started coming in. I landed on the driver's side, and water started coming in. And you always think, what if you get trapped in there? So I remember thinking the only panic was my seatbelt, because I'm a really good swimmer. And then it had busted out most of the windows, like the smaller windows. The windshield was shattered. It wasn't busted out, but it was shattered. But there were windows busted out completely. And so I was like, okay, as long as I can get my seatbelt undone, I can get out of here. So as soon as my seatbelt came undone, the panic was gone, because I was like, okay, I can get out. And the water starts coming in, because now, mind you, I'm on my driver's side, and the water starts coming in, and everything's obviously soaking wet and all over. Like, everything's flying everywhere. I had speakers in there, my guitars in there. Like, I totes of merch, like, because anyway, I was on my way to sing. So, I am mobile. I had my phone sitting on the center console, playing. I don't remember. I was listening to something. It was either music, or I was listening to something on YouTube, or something was playing. I don't remember what it was, but it was just sitting there. So that was still playing. So I was able to find my phone, because I could hear it. So I found that, and then I looked up to the passenger door was above me, and two guys. I wish now that I could find them and knew who they were, because at the time, no, I mean, I was in shock, obviously, and it was irrational. We'll get to that part. But they came and they peeled open. I would not have been able to open it myself, but they were able to pull open the passenger door up, and then they got me out. And at that point, I was irate. I was irately mad, screaming my lungs out, pissed off that somebody hit me. Not only did they total my car, they totaled all my gear. I was gonna miss my show. I had never at this point missed a show ever, and I was screaming mad, like irrational, and I still get hell for this from my mom. So I, instead of calling my mom, tell her I was okay, because I was live, I went on I went on Facebook, and here's where I was irrational. So I went on Facebook and I was like, look at my fucking car. Like, somebody hit me, and look what happened to my car. I was like, I'm stuck here now, and I can't get to my show. And I was like, what? I just flipped out. Totally rational to, like, that's what I thought was a good idea. To just, like, I was venting. So anyway, we'll talk about that more later. I still get in trouble for that. Still, it's been 9 years. No, how many years has it been? 2019. It's been 7 years. Anyway, so the ambulance gets there, and they put me in the ambulance, and I was like laughing and whatever, and they were like, they kept looking at me like this, because they were like, you shouldn't be laughing, you shouldn't be none of this. And they were like, what do you need out of the Durango? And I said, because they were like, everything was like, I mean, like, there were like CDs floating in the water, and like, it turned out that the water in the spot that I landed was only a couple feet deep, so it wasn't it was fine. But I didn't know that when I landed. I just knew that water was coming in. So it was only a few feet, so it filled up like half the whatever Durango. And then I said, I need my guitar. And they were like, well, no, really, like, what do you need? I was like, no, I need my guitar. Like, it's going to be soaking wet. I was so mad. So I'm in the ambulance, and they were just watching me. So they were like, obviously you're in shock. And so I get to the hospital, and like the neck brace thing and all that. And they were like, it's a miracle, because there wasn't a scratch on me. Like, not a scratch on me, except for my brain. So I basically had shaken baby syndrome. So I had shaken and, hit the window, obviously, so hard that my brain just bashed around inside my skull. And so, and I remember picking bits of glass out of my hair, and I also smelled so bad. I smelled so bad. Like, the swamp water stunk so bad. I have these little shoes that I love. They're called Twisted X's. They're like Hey Dudes, but better. They're like squishier sold. Anyway, I don't care, whatever. Anyway, they were soaked, and I never did. I ended up having to throw them away because I washed them, and they stunk so bad, and I smelled like swamp water. It was awful. And anyway, they basically, I'm running out of time here on my recording, so I'll cut this short, and then I'll talk about it more later. But anyway, so they said I should be dead, because, and I didn't realize how bad it was until I kept getting told over and over and over and over, you should be dead. They're like, if I'd gone off the other side of the road, it was twice as far, more steep, the angle, and it was falling into like a lake thing, like one of those things by the highway. And if I had, the side I'd fallen off, if I had been farther south, it would have been the actual water swamp. And then, or if I'd fallen 15 feet the other direction, I'd have hit a building when I landed. And they said if I would have been in a smaller vehicle, because I was in a full-size vehicle, if I had children, elderly, they said anything that would have happened that was not exactly what happened, they're like, you would be dead. They're like, you would be dead. And they kept saying it. And then I think it took that for me to realize that I should not have survived this. Like, there's no reason that I survived this. And anyway, so yeah, so I did, and I ended up with brain damage, and I will go into the TBI stuff because I'm like, my little clock's running down. So I didn't mean for this to be part 2, but it will be. But that was the accident.